You know what sucks? I wanted to make this the surprise of the season, but unfortunately there's another anime that took that, but it hasn't ended yet, so I can't really have that video about the surprise of the winter 2026 season. But like, dude, this last episode of this anime changes how I feel about the anime drastically. Like it was doing a bit of a turn, but it was kind of generic. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a little generic to the point where like I was like, you know what? It gave me good sakuga. It had a good story. It wasn't pedo bait, so like we're cool with this. But then that last episode happened. And now we're gonna have a real conversation about Sentenced to Be a Hero. Listen, man, that last episode did something for me. For this entire season to just be an entire storytelling of how we get one of the last heroes, at least that's what I'm suspecting from how the story was told. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but hey, whatever, that came out. Listen, if you're not up with the season, you're not up with it, whatever. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. I'm your friendly neighborhood anime talker. And come join me, subscribe, because I'm going to be talking about a lot more anime. And you know the vibes around here.
偽造もスキャンダルも陰謀論も好きにすればいい。ただ、真実だけは困るんだ。え?
So, Sentenced to Be a Hero is at first seemingly incredibly generic. Like, it felt like Oh My Goddess, it felt like Sekirei, it felt like so many other stories, but it had a medieval feel to it with like this like need for like punishment and humiliation. But when it got interesting, the story got interesting when we got backstories to every key character who ended up being sentenced to a hero. Because in this world, being a hero is a punishment because you have defiled the government and now you have to fight for a government that is probably like, you know, like on... Basically, they're traitors to humanity. They're fighting against fairies. The story becomes more about the failures of characters and what place they play in this story. Basically, all of our characters are relatively good people. Now, there's a stretch between some of the later characters we get to, but the characters that we're introduced to and how they ended up into this predicament of being a hero, basically, you have to fight against the fairies, and if you don't, you basically die. They have a branding across their neck that can immediately kill them, and if they die in battle, they can be revived, but if you're revived too much, you essentially lose your memories. And that's our story. We are following Xylo Fulbarts. I'm gonna say that weird. He is dark-skinned, so we gotta love him. We love a melanated character. With all that, he has interesting powers. He's the anti-hero that's pretty much a hero. He just has a hard exterior because he has a place in this story where he has done something irreparable. I'll let you figure that out if you haven't seen it. Also, this idea of like anti-heroes that are actually good people is really weird to me because at least how I've been taught anti-heroes, they gotta make bad choices.
Yeah.
And our main character is just an anti-hero just because he's not the most likable exterior. But then again, you grow to like love him because like he's an actual character with like a conscience and a mind, and he does a lot of cool shit throughout the entire story. Like he has a lot of great Sakuga moments. But then anyway, then we have the goddesses who have powers, and we get introduced to Terorita, and she's cool. It's whatever. Their relationship, you thought it was gonna go one way, and they kind of marketed it that way. But the story actually isn't about that, because that's where all it gets like mad generic, and it's not really important. And I can see how some people just clicked off of this, but the anime is not about that. This season, anyway. This season was about how a system creates villains and how a system is creating the very calamities that are now being impacted upon the human race. Because the entire story is like a fake out. Because every time we get introduced to a new character, the episode is about them and they part to play with the normal story, and then we get an introduction into how they became a hero.
って本当にすごいよね。それで僕はもう全面降伏。何でも言うこと聞きますって感じだよ。倫理観も学んでいる最中なんだ。
But then the last episode is an introduction into how a character becomes the last hero, and it was chef's kiss, one of the most perfect reveals, the entire story. And it feels weird because she is a part of the entire story, but you don't feel as though there's more to her than like you would think. It felt like there was just going to be like a classic betrayal, whatever, we're going to move on, and like humanity's somewhat going to get a grip and certain things are just going to transpire. But no, it is actually an entire season about how this guard becomes the last sentenced hero. And it is an incredible reveal. It is worthwhile. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're probably going to see clips on it or whatever, but you should watch it because that last episode did everything it needed to be special. I don't say this too often, but that last episode changed how I felt about this anime. If they are able to have such succinct storytelling, it did not need to talk. It did not need to express. It felt like we were riding the tension of what this was going to be, and it ended up being more than we thought it would be. This is beautifully animated, wonderful storytelling. It showcases an imperfect world, which we are a part of an imperfect world, and it also showcases a lot of generic stuff, but then it just has beautiful storytelling with reversals and moments that are actually worthwhile. Sentenced to Be a Hero is my like second surprise of the season, man. Like that last episode changed everything for me. For this entire season to be how she fell from grace is incredible. I'm sorry, not a lot of animes do something that incredible, and this anime came out of nowhere. But unfortunately, another anime got the helm for like the surprise of the season because of its wonderful storytelling and its ways of getting across ideas. But Sentenced to Be a Hero, that last episode did something for me, and anybody who watches anime would really appreciate that last reveal. That last reveal changed everything, and it made the anime so much more special. And I'm super excited for whatever second season comes because I'm excited to see how this world unfolds. And if they're deciding to do bittersweet storytelling like that with characters passing away in moments and culminations of tension and just writing, yeah, man, that did something for me. It felt like I was watching art unfold before me, and some of the highest art possible. So how did you feel about that last episode? I was geeked ever since watching it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That'll be much appreciated. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Dude, how did you feel? That was sick, bro. I thought the anime was just going to be generic, but man, that last episode did something for me. Take care, be well, and, enjoy your Fridays.